My name is Stein Villumstad, and I'm currently the General Secretary of European Council of Religious Leaders, which is the European expression of Religions for Peace.
Thank you, Mr. Villumstad. Could you explain a little bit about your and the European Council of Religious Leaders' work on the Code on Holy Sites?
Yes, thank you. I will very much like to do that. Together with 3 other organizations, we have been engaged with what is now called the Universal Code of Conduct on Holy Sites. It started with some meetings in Norway in which religious leaders from the Balkans, from the Middle East, and also from Norway got together and observed that during conflict, places of worship and other places that are important for religious communities are becoming targets. And we also see that they have been desecrated and destroyed, and people have not had access to their places. And conflicts have also been rampant around those places. What can we do about it in an inter-religious mode? So work was done, and this code of conduct was developed, in which there are a number of elements or principles involved, including that of access to holy places, that of protection, question of when there is more than one faith that is claiming that particular religious site. What about education about holy sites? We don't know about each other's places of worship and holy places. What about excavations? Because sometimes you have layers of history, and whose history should we respect? All? Yes, we need to have some mechanism to find out. And for example, local authorities need to be involved in terms of establishing of new places, and also how to deal with property questions and so forth. Which means that this is beyond what UNESCO is having as cultural heritages, because it can be a shed, but it's serving as a holy place, it's serving as a religious place. And we're talking not only about the place as an infrastructure, but we're talking about a holy place as a living place where people are conducting their religious traditions in today's life. So this is what we're trying to do, and we're following, in a way, 3 paths in this work. One is to have the code endorsed by religious institutions, and we have a number of endorsements, still working on some, but globally we have had this endorsed. Second, we need to test out, how does it work on the ground? So we are starting pilot projects in Bosnia, in the Holy Land, Jerusalem and Israel, Palestine. Started in Indonesia. I was there and we were able to initiate that. Nigeria is coming up, and I'm going there next month to see how that can be started. We are talking about possible in Sri Lanka, we are talking about possibly in Syria, and we're trying to expand the number of places where we're testing out the feasibility of this code and see how it can impact. The Bosnia code pilot shows that yes, there is an impact. The attacks on places, desecrations, the number of these incidents are going down when it is monitored and reported, bringing in media, bringing in local authorities, police, and say we need to take this much more seriously. The third track is at the United Nations, because religious places, holy places, are not in isolation. They are in societies where also authorities need to have a say in terms of regulation of property issues, conflict resolution, police needs to get involved if anything happens, and so forth. And therefore we need a support by governments for the principles of the code, and our choice has been then to pursue a UN General Assembly resolution in support of that. So that is our third track, trying to have this resolution passed in the General Assembly, and we hope that within foreseeable future we will have such a resolution passed.